Hey everyone, Paul Finck here, the Maverick Millionaire, and we are just getting started. Maverick Monday is here, and I am so excited to have all of you participate here. Paul Finck here, the Maverick Millionaire, and this is Maverick Monday. We are here to talk about stress. Are you stressful? Are you going nuts, going crazy, a little bit overwhelmed in this crazy, crazy world that we're in right now? Well, I got to tell you, you're not alone. Stress levels are going through the roof, and it's really a major concern in our country now and across the world. Major causes for stress. Absolutely, your job. Your job can be a major cause of stress. Money, absolutely. With the downturn in the economy, with jobs being challenged right now, and the unemployment rate, we are looking at really unprecedented stress levels over money and jobs. So those are the top two major reasons why people get stressed out. Health is number three. And so with the COVID virus, you can imagine people are going nuts with that as well, because there's some major, major challenges with health across the country and around the world. Relationships, nutrition, and lack of sleep are the next three. And one of the other, which I found fascinating as I always research and I do a little bit deeper dive on a regular basis on any topic that I bring to the table. And one of the things that has really not only been one of the top seven stress components in our world, only now, because of everything that's going on in our world, it is capping out to be number three and maybe even number two in our world as far as major stress level. The media. That's right. The media, and that includes social media as well as the media in general. So the news and the radio and TV and all this blitz of major information flying at us, and all of it at this point across the board being so extreme and so negative. We are talking about a through the roof crazy percentages of stress level. It used to be most people were responding to stress levels. And I had looked up some stats, and they actually don't know the stats right now. But, it's like I believe the response rate is somewhere around 78% of people in the United States experience stress at a level 7 or above. 78%. I mean, that's just crazy numbers. We're talking that stress, where does it show up? And this is all that we're talking about today, is what's going on with stress and what can you do about it. Absolutely. Comment below on the stress that you're feeling. What level do you believe it is on a scale of 1 to 10 for yourself? And two is, what do you believe are the major factors causing your stress? Where's your stress coming from? Go ahead and comment below. It's really important for us to get clear with where stress is coming from in our life. We're going to talk about that. We have a physical response. There's physiological symptoms that show up in our body when we're highly stressed. It even affects our finances and our work, and we're going to talk about that as well. See, I am a coach, a trainer, speaker, and I've been training on psychology and motivation and business skill sets and really how to develop a great life. I've been a coach now for 15 years, and so been talking about this for a long time. And oh, by the way, I also started off as a psychology major, trained to be a clinical psychologist, and then went on and have been an entrepreneur now for 35 years. And so understood one that brought on stress into my life, something major, and then learned how to manage it. Not only am I an entrepreneur and a serial entrepreneur, so I have business after business after business structures and all the stress that can bring that on, I also happen to have 3 sets of twins, 6 children that also double down that stress, or at least it does for a lot of people. And it did for me for a while until I learned how to manage stress, really manage my emotional state, which stress is simply an emotion. You can control it. You can actually live a life of stress free, because the challenge is that stress, when you acknowledge that it's an emotion, you also must acknowledge that you have complete control over it. That has nothing to do with the external forces, no matter what, all our studies show us. Oh, it comes from the job, and it comes from health issues, it comes from these major events in our life. No, it comes from you. It comes from internal. It comes from what you decide stress looks like. So where some people might consider stress not having any money in their bank account, other people look at it like, it's just the way of life. It just is. And so stress is absolutely how you're looking at it, how you perceive the world around you. It has nothing to do with the world itself. It's how you perceive it, and then how you internalize it and react to it. Stress, fascinating component. What happens for you with stress? What does it create for you? Do you yell and scream at people? Do you get sick to your stomach? Do you actually get physically ill for long periods of time? Do you sleep your days away because you're stressed out and you just kind of hide under the covers? These are all symptoms of stress, the fallout of stress, what stress causes you to do in your life. Once you grab hold of it, hold on tight to that stress, what happens for you? So we have a lot of things that cause stress in our life, most of which are at a heightened state right now because of everything that's going on in the external world. So people are reacting to that rather than holding on to their emotional state and deciding in advance, regardless of the external world, what they want their world to look like, what they want their feelings to be. So they're reacting. There's a Princeton study that I found in the Journal of Science, and the components, and what I want to mention to you is, what is stress? Why do you care about stress, or why should you? Why is it important to lower your stress levels and to lower them as much and as often as you can? See, most people take stress as a way of life. They say, yeah, we've got the coronavirus, we've got, racial unrest, we've got a whole lot of challenges in our economy going on, we have world unrest. Of course I'm stressed. The stress is still an emotion, it's still internal. You could still decide to be happy, to be joyful, to be excited about the world, or to manage exactly the facts and the details of how you move forward, regardless of the emotional angst that other people decide you should have based on what's going on. You see, it has nothing to do with what's happening, aside from the medical reasons. So explain, aside from the medical reasons, what do you mean by that? What's the full question? And so just responding to some Q&A in our chat as we're live here interacting with our group. Absolutely, there are, regardless of what's going on in your world, you can control the emotional state. And that's what we're talking about here, and that's what stress is. You see, when we boil it down, the Princeton study, they found that, and these are some of the reasons why you need to control your state. 1, stress creates you to be stupid. What do I mean by that? Stress has actually been proven, and that's what this study that I was about to talk about references. Your IQ level actually goes down. You become more stupid when you're in high levels of stress. They actually measured it, and according to the study, 13% decrease in your intelligence, in your IQ, when you're in high levels of stress. So you actually do or create this situation to be worse. You actually respond to the world with less intelligence, and thus you're more prone to make mistakes. And when you are more prone to make mistakes, and then you do, does your stress level, can you imagine, would that go up or down? So now you're doubling down on your stress level, because first you were stressed, then you made a mistake, and then you got more stressed because you made a mistake, and then you're more stressed, so your IQ continues to drop. This is a vicious cycle. You've got to get control. So yes, we shouldn't stress because it'll affect our physiological components. It'll affect our health. It'll affect our bodies. It'll affect our intelligence as well. And it also monopolizes our thinking. One of the things that they found is that when you're stressed, you obsess over the thing that you're stressed about. You think about that more. And the more that you think about it, is it really resolving anything? No, you end up just going down the rabbit hole of obsessing over the component that is causing you stress, thus increasing your stress levels, thus increasing health challenges, thus decreasing your intelligence. And all this becomes a vicious spiral downward. And then it limits your decision making ability. You get dumber and dumber. You're able to make less and less logical, factual, reasonable decisions as you go down this rabbit hole further and further. All these become major components in learning how to manage your stress. Because when you do, now you can face the same scenario with increased intelligence, with more strength, more perseverance, more ability to keep moving forward because you've got a physical presence about you that is greater. And you're able to make better and better decisions as you go along, not worse and worse. This is really key for your future growth, which is why I spend so much time talking about it, and why most people go, yeah, I'm just stressed out. Solve my stress level. And what they mean by that is make me more money, give me better relationships, solve all the social economic challenges of the world. I gotta tell you, managing your own state is a lot easier. And yet it's the last thing people recognize as what they need to do to create their great life. Control your emotional state. Control your own inner strength. So here's what you want to do. Recognize that stress, A, is an emotion that you have control over. B, that stress comes from looking to control things that you have no control over. So what I mean by that is that all those things that are stressing you out, I want you to consider, where is that stress coming from? What is it that is actually causing the stress? And so Robin was sharing on the chat, she was saying, I was struggling with the feeling of being overwhelmed, which was causing me stress. Yes, because you were obsessing over the overwhelm or the thing that was causing you stress, thus it multiplied it. What we focus on expands, one of the lessons that I teach. What needs to be done? What needs to be done? What am I stressing about? What needs to be done? And it's helping. So much going on, the stress of keeping track of what gets. So much going on, stress of keeping track of it all is what gets me. It is a matter of tracking it. And one of the things that when I read biographies of highly successful people, and highly successful people have low stress levels. That's how they're able to create success. One is that they don't spend the energy and time on stress, so they don't overwhelm over it and stress over it and end up obsessing over it. So they don't dwell on it. They don't spend time there. They have more energy because they don't let it fester inside their bodies, and they keep their high level of intelligence. And so when you read biographies, high level successful people, what they do is they create a ton of lists. Most people that I read their biographies, I interview them, I spend some time with them. They create lists. I do the same thing. Tons and tons and tons of lists. I have lists. I create new lists almost every day, if not every day, and absolutely use them as reference points on everything I do. And the lists are ways and attempts, I should say, on controlling our environment, really getting clear with what's going on with our world in microcosm analysis. That's what lists do for you. And so the bottom line is, when you get control of something, when you actually get that feeling that you have control over it, that's when stress will go away. When stress comes into your life, look for the thing that you are looking to control that you don't have control over. For instance, you do not have control over the weather. Stressing over what the temperature is going to be, or whether it's going to rain or snow outside, creates stress, and yet you have no control over it. Release that. You have no control over what other people do or what other people say. As soon as you attempt to control what other people do or what other people say, you will increase your stress level. You will get anxious. You will get irritable. You will get frustrated. You'll want to lash out. Sound familiar? All these components are based on the facts that you're looking to control things that you don't have control over. What do you have control over? You have control over yourself. 100% control over yourself. Which some people don't even admit that. Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever emotion you're feeling, you have complete control over. You can utilize that effective control to show up the way you'd love to show up, to be the person that you would love to be, or you can ignore the fact that you have that kind of control and just live randomly, if you will. The stress, you want a lower stress level? Acknowledge that you have control over your own emotions. You have control over what you say and do. Then release looking to control everything else around you. You can suggest to people what to do. You can even move them to the line, only it's up to them to actually do what it takes. It's up to them to actually move forward. And when you release yourself from that, and I manage people and I manage companies and I've managed just dozens and dozens of people in certain specific moments in time, as well as ongoing across the country with my different businesses. And yet, I don't stress over what they're doing. They don't do the job, I move on. I find the people that will. But I'm not here to control them. It's their life. They can live it the way they want. How are you living yours? Are you living it stress-free? Or are you getting stressful? So releasing the need for control, and then the rest of the story, create those lists. Actually get clear with what you're doing. Make a list of what your future plans are. Make a list of what you're going to be doing tomorrow. Make a list of what you need to be doing right now, today. All of these lists create a certain amount of perceived control over the scenario, the environment, that gives you a peace from stress. In addition to that, there's a couple other techniques that I'll share. One is that you can relive scenarios. So certain things that might stress you are things that you've done in the past that you maybe weren't pleased with. Maybe you didn't like the way you showed up. Maybe you didn't like the way what you said or what you did. And to relive it and to go through and kind of act it out in the way in which you would have liked it to play out. Because what you're doing, your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fiction and reality. It perceives what it perceives all as equal stance. So when you act it out, when you play out a scenario that you did bad or you did ineffectively or you did in a way that you didn't like, and then you replay it, you react it in your world, your subconscious mind takes that in and it helps to balance out the scales. It also teaches you what you can be doing in the future. So playing that part, playing that role and acting out what the best of you would have done, the best part of you would have done in that moment, really helps to solidify your empowerment of control, your perception of control over what happened so that you can be in better stance to control what's going to happen in the future. Again, these are techniques to lower your stress level. And you can absolutely eliminate it. And as we were talking about before, when you eliminate stress, you don't have the health challenges. It can literally save your life because so much of our ailments in our world come to us because of the stress. Get brought on. Death gets brought on by people having an increased level of stress. Heart attacks, strokes, tons of challenges health-wise, all because people get high anxiety. So lower that, we'll live longer. I know I will. How about you? So we want to talk about this, and so relive, acting it out, creating lists so you get some perception of control. I also say plan your world. And one of the key components to really feeling like you're in control, and that's what all this is. It's all about feelings. Your stress level is a feeling, it's an emotion. So when you feel like you're in control, you lower stress. One of the things that helps you feel like you're in control is to plan. To pre-plan. When you pre-plan everything out, you feel like you've got a certain level of control over it. So pre-plan your future, pre-plan your life, pre-plan, and here's really key, pre-plan for the worst. You know, the expression, I am a pure optimist. I love looking at the silver lining on everything. However, do not mistake that for not planning for the worst case scenario. I plan for the worst and I expect the best. When we plan for the worst, we plan for the lowest common denominator of what's going to happen. We really are prepared then for anything. And once we perceive that we're prepared for anything, we go into the scenarios with a low level of stress. I got this. I can handle this. Whatever comes at me, I've got a plan for. I'm good. That's what experience does for us. We lower our stress level because we've have an experience level that gives us the perception that we've already experienced most of what could happen. And so whatever happens, we're ready. That's why experienced people have less anxiety going into new scenarios because they figure, I got this. Planning for the worst, expecting the best. One other component, declutter. Get rid of all the stuff around you. The mayhem externally will create more mayhem internally. So as your external environment is crazy and everywhere and stuff all going on in 12 different places, your internal world will also be in mayhem. And so you want to settle internal, you want to settle those emotions, clean up the external world for yourself. Declutter your office, declutter your home, declutter your workspace. Really important. and realize as you're going through that whenever you're stressed, I want you to look. I want you to look on the horizon, look around you, and find the thing. Usually it's the thing, it's a thing that you're looking to control. It's a scenario, it's an environment, it's a specific person that you're looking to control the scenario, that person. And of course, they cannot be controlled. Only you can control you. Everything else is out of your control. And as soon as you recognize that you're looking to control that person, for instance, let go, release the need to control them, and your stress level will release. Hey everyone, let's make space for new stuff. Yeah, make space. No, we don't need the new stuff either. Just declutter, release it all. We could use a lot less in our world than most people bring on into their world. So just recognize that a simplistic, a clean environment, all these things play well to have a lower stress level in your life. Those are the key components. And again, so we talked about making lists, declutter. We talked about reliving, acting out the past so that you're better prepared for the future, and really planning for the worst, pre-planning your day and your world. And recognize every time that you look around you, that you're feeling a little stressed, and you look around you, find the thing that you're looking to control, that you have no control over. I've learned to really get clear with my stress level. The magnitude of times that I'm stressed is down to a fraction of what it was when I was in my 20s, when I was in my 30s. I've learned through time that not everything is urgent, and most things aren't that important. I've learned that the way to live a great life is to live a great life. The way to live a great life isn't to constantly be looking for what's the future, although that's important. And man, everyone that's one of my students now, planning your future, having a purpose and a drive to build to a greater future, to live your fullest potential is one of the things that I teach every day. Complacency sucks, but don't mistake complacency for letting life live. There is a difference. I can drive for the future and be completely happy with the present. I can be driven to reach my fullest potential, but be really happy with how far I've come and who I am today. They're not mutually exclusive. So really get clear. Be grateful for everything that you have. Be joyful in your life. Enjoy every moment. You never know what the next moment's going to bring. Enjoy the present and get clear that that is all you have, is this second. The past is already done, and the future, well, you never know. And we've been living that every day recently. You never know. So enjoy the moment. Live the moment. You want lower stress? Heed these words. God bless all of you. It's been a real pleasure as always. I want to share with you, I've got a special event coming up this Thursday. It is Maverick Success Live Sneak Peek. You want more of this. You really want to learn how to, one, get control of your life, which is really key. You want to lower stress, get control of your life. I gave you some techniques. I'm going to talk about the rest of the story, really how to implement these and really create a good framework. It's the CPB framework, how to create the SIM process into your world. These are all things that are going to be taught and talked about to really create the dream life that you want, and all that's going to be talked about on Thursday. So right around the corner, go to MaverickSneakPeek.com to register for the very next sneak peek, and looking forward to seeing you there. We can get to hang out and talk more about really how to create the great life that you want. This is Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire, and absolutely understand you are in control of you. Continue to control you, and the rest will take care of itself. This is Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire. Until next time, everyone.